are now at the Q&A portion of the webinar. We're going to begin answering any questions you have regarding the presentation. And as a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions box. Our first question, Dr. Myers, what is the process for a manufacturer to have their medical device tested against HPV, and what is the time frame? And a carry on to that, how do we find out if a company has tested against your native HPV testing protocol?
Well, let me just answer the second part first. That is something you need to discuss with the company directly. That's the way you would find out. Not all things get published, and there are things out there that have been done but haven't been published yet. The first part of the question is, what we do is we have a discussion with the manufacturer. We try to figure out what their needs are, what they want to be able to show, and then we form a protocol with their desired results, but also including controls so that we make sure the validity of the results are correct. And then once we have the protocol approved, we go ahead with doing the study. Once we have all that done, it could take 2 to 4 weeks for us to finish the study.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. Our next question is for Dr. Weber. What should you look for, or how do you determine if the incorrect research methodology has been used?
So I think that's obviously a bit of a complex question. I think what you do is you apply standard, appropriate epidemiologic tools that we teach in our School of Public Health and otherwise. First, you have to start off with, as Dr. Meyer said, you have to use the right research technology. That is, to measure your microbes and killing, how you get them off the surface, whether you're looking at HPV or Staph aureus. That's really where you need an expert microbiologist to review the data. Hopefully, if it's a good journal, you've had an expert microbiologist look at it, somebody like Dr. Myers. That's the first thing. Then you have to look at the design. Did they mimic actual practice? Did they do enough repetitions? As with any study, if you're putting inoculum on something, you want appropriate positive and negative controls. That is, you want to contaminate some devices and not put them in a disinfection, make sure that you can get the organism off. And you want some negative controls where you run it through your system. They should have, if you've not inoculated them, there should be no pathogens. And so you're not contaminating it in your system. So you want those appropriate controls. You need sufficient numbers to be statistically meaningful. And then there are things you want to use recurrent pathogens that you would see in healthcare. So for what we're talking about, ultrasound probes, starting with vaginal and rectal ultrasound probes, you want things that would mimic, don't have to be the exact organism, but would mimic syphilis and gonorrhea and chlamydia and other vegetative bacteria. You clearly want envelope viruses that are herpes simplex or would mimic them, and non-envelope viruses. And here, because they vary quite a bit, I think you would clearly want to show that the device or disinfectant was active against HPV. So you need to look at all of those factors in assessing whether the article is in fact valid.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Our next question. When a disinfection system is modified, does its efficacy need to be retested?
So the answer in general is yes. It obviously depends a little bit on what that modification is. So for instance, if the modification was that you added in a new warning bulb or light that indicated that time hadn't been reached before, that might have been on the paper process measure, some tape that was used, and you add an extra warning light, that probably doesn't need to be revalidated. Obviously, if you change your device and you go from a device that has a chamber size of, say, it's just as an example, it's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and now you make a device that has 3 times the chamber size, or you change the configuration in the chamber, or you change the intensity of the UV bulbs or the gas concentration, then you need to revalidate the device. Generally, these devices, of course, are approved by the regulatory agencies in different countries, and you would follow the rules those regulatory agencies have for when you need to revalidate the device. But you're right, you couldn't assume that a device made for one application, if it changes in important parameters, would be safe.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Our next question. We use Trophin 2 for disinfection, and has it been tested to be effective against HPV yet? And that would be to either of our speakers.
So I will defer to Dr. Myers. The answer is off the top of my head, am not aware of the literature for that particular device against HPV. Dr. Myers may have more information.
I think it's what I said earlier, you have to talk with the manufacturers. I mean, that's the key. You have to hold a conversation with them.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. So with that, we would like to thank Dr. David Weber and Dr. Craig Myers for your presentation today. And on behalf of the Germatech, who sponsored our webinar, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to join our session. As we don't have any more questions, I'll end this session, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.